The last game we have to talk about, we have a rematch of the 6-6 Las Vegas Raiders taking on the 8-4 Kansas City Chiefs. Kansas City is a 9-point favorite going into this game. This game's going to be played this Sunday with a 1 p.m. Eastern Time kickoff on CBS. The Raiders were defeated by the Washington football team 17-15. Kansas City defeated the Broncos 22-9. The Raiders have to win this game, and I think all the Raider Nation knows that this is a must-win game. Not only are you trying to stay within the AFC West division race, which everybody pretty much is in this thing, the Broncos are, the Chargers are all trying to keep pace with the Kansas City Chiefs, and for the Las Vegas Raiders, I said this last week and I'm going to say it again, this has pretty much been the Raiders team that we've seen over the last 2 years. They start the season not really good. Then around Thanksgiving, December, they start to fall apart. And now we're starting to see the Las Vegas Raiders kind of fall apart late in the season. It's kind of sad because it's the same thing, it seems like, every year with the Raiders. Their season always starts off a lot of promise. Then they end up having things go south. And things are kind of starting to go really south for the Las Vegas Raiders. So this is a must-win game that the Raiders must win. Meanwhile, for Kansas City, they're trying to stay on top of the AFC West division, and they also are trying to stay in the running for that number 1 overall seed in the AFC West, trying to get that first round bye. Right now, they're competing with the Patriots, the Ravens for that title right there of that number 1 seed. And the Chiefs offense has struggled this season. It hasn't really been the dynamic, explosive Chiefs offense that we have been accustomed to seeing over the last couple of seasons. And it looks like defenses have now started to adjust to it. But the good thing is that you're playing against the Las Vegas Raiders, and this Chiefs offense led by Patrick Mahomes had their best performance of the season the last time they played the Raiders, where Patrick Mahomes was 35 of 50 for 406 passing yards and 5 touchdowns. It seems like every single play that was called by Kansas City ended up working, and the Raiders didn't really have an answer for anything that Kansas City wanted to do, which is why the Chiefs dominated in their last game, winning 41-14. So what the Raiders have to do differently to be able to make sure that they come out on the winning end of this game is, first, their defense has to be able to limit the big plays over the top. But to help out the defense, the offense has to be way more efficient, because in their first matchup, the Raiders offense didn't really get anything going. You tried to hit Darren Waller a good amount of times, but you weren't really able to find him all that much. On top of that, it really wasn't no camaraderie on the offense. Everything just looked out of sorts. The offense really couldn't get any drives going. And the Raiders defense is pretty solid, but their defense hasn't really been as good as what it could be, because the offense is having the defense have too many plays on the field. So for the Raiders, their offense definitely has to be a little bit more efficient, or way more efficient, to beat the Chiefs. On top of that, the run game has to be there. The ground game for the Raiders hasn't been good this year. As a matter of fact, they have one of the worst rushing attacks in the league this year. So to beat Kansas City, you're going to have to be able to lean on that run game. You're going to have to be able to make sure that you're able to be balanced, because too many games the Raiders have found themselves in where they end up having to rely too much on the passing game, and the Raiders don't really have a lot of talent in the wide receiver room to have to really be able to win games just strictly throwing the football with no run game present. You got Hunter Renfrow, you got Darren Waller, but that's about it. You're going to need some of your other wide receivers to step up. What about Brian Edwards? What about Deshaun Jackson? Those guys are going to have to be able to step up in the passing game, because there isn't really a lot of weapons and the receiving room for the Raiders to win this game, strictly being able to do it off the arm of Derek Carr. The Raiders also have the worst red zone defense in the NFL. They allow teams to score touchdowns in the red zone 77.42% of the time, which is really big, because a lot of games come down to being able to limit teams from scoring touchdowns and settle in for field goals. And if you're allowing teams just to walk into your territory and just get a free 7 points, you're going to be in a lot of matchups where the game is probably going to be decided with you not being able to get off the field in those red zone situations and not allowing those teams to only come away with 3 points. So against Kansas City, man, like the Raiders offense definitely is going to have to get going, but I don't really see any way this game doesn't end up being a shootout unless the Raiders offense can be efficient and sustain some drives so the defense isn't on the field for the amount of plays that they were on last time. For Kansas City, I'm wondering if their offense is going to be able to replicate the performance that they had against the Raiders in their first matchup, or are the Raiders going to make adjustments defensively? Now, honestly, I don't feel like the Raiders defense was the sole reason why they lost the first matchup. I feel like the offense had so many struggles and the defense had to come back on the field so many times that eventually they just got gassed, and that's what Kansas City was able to do a lot of damage to them. I feel like the offense can sustain some drives and give them a little bit of time to rest. I think this defense could do some things because you have Max Crosby, who has been really good for this team all year. I don't think the secondary is all that bad. I just feel like when it comes to playing the Kansas City Chiefs, you have to be able to make sure that you're able to limit those big plays, and I feel like the Raiders coaching staff can make those adjustments. So the team I'm going to take to win this game, I'm taking the Kansas City Chiefs. I feel like this game probably is going to spout the near end of the season for Las Vegas. This team has struggled over the last couple of weeks, not really on the defense side of the football, but really offensively. Derek Carr and this whole entire offense right now hasn't really been getting going. And it's not really because of Derek Carr. It's really just a lack of talent in the wide receiving room. We thought Bryan Edwards was going to be able to emerge. That really hasn't happened. Darren Waller also is kind of banged up right now. So I feel like this Raiders offense is going to have to get something going, and I don't really think they're going to be able to do it against the Kansas City Chiefs, which the Chiefs defense has been playing really good during their win streak, and I think that continues, which is why I'm going to take the Chiefs to win this game. I don't think it'll be as one-sided as what it was last time, but I'm going to take the Chiefs to win 27-17 is my final score prediction in this game. I'm taking the Kansas City Chiefs. You guys let me know who you guys have winning this game down in the comment section down below. Make sure that you check out the JT Sports Podcast, and I appreciate you for listening to this episode of the JT Sports Podcast. Make sure that you guys go ahead, share this episode with your friends, family, acquaintances on all your social media pages, and I will see you guys later with another episode of the JT Sports Podcast.